Good afternoon, and welcome to O'Neill's 2016 commencement exercises. Avery Schaefer will lead our invocation.
Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Loving God, thank you so much for this amazing group of people gathered together today. Thank you for the graduates. We have all worked so hard and come so far since the beginning of our careers at the O'Neill School. Thank you also for those here who have stood by us when we felt like giving up, whether those be teachers, family members, or friends. Most of all, thank you for your never-ending love, support, and guidance through these past few years when we have been happy and when we have been sad. As we leave from this place, help us to seek out your purpose for us and strive to fulfill it to the best of our ability. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
This afternoon we come together, family, friends, faculty, students, and staff, to recognize this important step for our class of 2016. I want to start by thanking all of the seniors for all that you have done for the school and for your fellow students. We also thank our senior parents and guardians who have entrusted us with their children and shared their years at O'Neill with us. And thank you, the O'Neill faculty, for the dedication, love, and support you've provided the students throughout their years at O'Neill. The class of 2016 includes young leaders with a variety of backgrounds and interests. 60% of the class will attend colleges outside of the state of North Carolina, while others made excellent in-state decisions, and 2 will study internationally. Members of the class will be college athletes, theater performers, fine artists, and equestrians, and together they have earned more than $3.3 million in scholarship offers. With 32 students, I think anybody can do the math there. Some members of the class have been at O'Neill for 14 years, others shorter. A couple left and returned, and one returned after an absence since middle school for her senior year. We're glad you've all been here. Students in this class have studied or traveled in South Africa, France, and China. And all of you know families will travel great distances for the O'Neill experience. And some in this class have even come from far-off, exotic places like Costa Rica, Hunan Province, China, and Shira. Last evening, Major Curlin noted that he can vividly remember his own graduation, like mine 30 years ago, and how it is a time when the world seems wide open with excitement and possibilities. So much to look forward to, so much to accomplish, and so much to experience. During the years to come, you will all also experience times of joy. Look out for each of them and cherish it. Those of us who are 30 years or more beyond where you sit now hope that you will find great joy in the years ahead. Look for it, as David Brooks describes in his book, The Road to Character. He writes, "Joy is not produced because others praise you. Joy emanates unbidden and unforced. Joy comes as a gift when you least expect it. At those fleeting moments, you know why you were put here and what the truth you serve. You may not feel giddy at these moments. You may not hear the orchestra's delirious swell or see flashes of crimson and gold, but you will feel a satisfaction, a silence, a peace, a hush. Those joyous moments are the blessings and the signs of a beautiful life." End quote. We hope that every member of the class of 2016 will seek the joy Brooks describes and find it often. To begin our formal program, it is now my pleasure to introduce the class of 2016 valedictorian, William Shermer.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming today to help us celebrate. Congratulations to the class of 2016. We have almost made it. In this address, I will share some of the advice that I have received and found most helpful in recent years, in the hope of inspiring reflection on our high school experience while also looking to our futures. The class of 2016 comprises 32 graduates. Being such a small group and having been together for such a long time, I think of my classmates as family. We have worked, played, competed, succeeded, and sometimes failed together, and I am proud to be a member of this group. When I first told my dad that I was lucky enough to have been selected to give a speech at graduation, he promptly responded with a quote from his coworker. "What advice does an 18-year-old have to give?" After a week of contemplating this statement in hopes of finding some brilliant message that I could deliver today to counter my dad and to ensure an easy, successful, and prosperous life for each of my friends here, I came up empty. While I see that I may not hold any secret keys to life, I hope that I'm able to share some of the more meaningful pieces of advice that I've received during high school and have come to believe in. First of all, be kind. Yes, I failed to avoid even the most common of cliches, but is overused for a reason. Kindness is both a wonderful gift and a powerful tool. For example, the class of 2016 has found a passion in travel. In the past years, members of the class have traveled to South Africa, Moldova, China, Peru, France, Costa Rica, Mexico, and in the case of Lillian and Gustavo, to the United States. Knowing culture and language is a start to a successful trip, but sometimes kindness is even more important. When a group of us traveled to China this spring, we didn't know the language, except for Brian, who claimed to have mastered about 5 Chinese phrases. Instead, we relied on kindness, the kindness of our tour guides, of the Chinese host families and students, and the kindness of Lillian's family. That trip was a highlight of my senior year. Whether it is in the United States or beyond our borders, showing and sharing kindness with the people you meet will ultimately enrich your experiences. The next best advice I received was to experience as much as you can. Life is short and college is shorter. When we look back upon the next 4 years of our life, or our life as a whole, I suspect that most of our regrets will be things that we neglected to try rather than those things we tried and failed. Sometimes it's a small thing, like asking a girl to dance, or choosing to go to the last home basketball game. Other times it's larger, like spending a summer in Moldova, or finding a job in the Outer Banks, where you have to bike 15 miles to work each day. To have the fullest and most meaningful life, we need to reach out to our challenges, to celebrate our successes, and embrace and fully experience our losses and failures. To be frustrated with failure or sad at a loss is not a sign of weakness, but an indication that you care. Both success and failure are needed to have a rich and full perspective and to develop compassion and empathy for others. This leads me to my next point, passion. When you decide to commit yourself to something, give it everything you have. I have found being fully committed to a project or task makes it more enjoyable and makes me more successful. I have been told to take every college class as if it were going to be my profession for the rest of my life. If you are in a creative writing class, write every story as if you hope it will be the next bestseller. Even if you've always disliked math but find yourself in a calculus class, study calculus as if you would hope to discover 10 new applications and become a successful engineer, scientist, or mathematician. By fully committing, you might find that you really are better and more interested than you originally thought. Or conversely, you might discover that a subject that you originally didn't care about, you actually hate with a white-hot passion. Both outcomes are better than apathy. And finally, give back. Some of my most cherished memories at O'Neill have been the opportunities that I've had to serve those around me. Each of us, the graduates, have participated in philanthropic organizations, charities, and individual projects. We have given back locally and globally through mission trips, Girl Scout Gold Awards, building for Habitat for Humanity, organizing blood drives, collecting bikes for Project Santa, serving at the Coalition, walking for Relay for Life, and many more. Through these activities, we have learned the value of positively impacting those around us, and it will be our privilege and our duty to continue to do so in the future. Looking forward, this community of students, teachers, administrators, and families have given us a strong foundation, a solid set of tools to meet the world, and a moral compass. Now I get to put these to work and build our futures. So I say, whether you become a bulldog, a pirate, a poet, a blazer, or a Tar Heel, we all started as Falcons. Let's go out there and live the life of our dreams. Thank you to all my classmates, my teachers, my coaches, and the entire O'Neill community.
Thank you, William. Our commencement speaker today is Eric Subin. Mr. Subin is a 2004 graduate of the O'Neill School and is now an attorney in New York City with the firm Subin Associates. A successful trial attorney, in 2014, Eric was listed not once but twice in the New York Law Journal for top verdicts. He also serves as a legal consultant and analyst for television media on national legal cases such as the Brown grand jury case in Ferguson, Missouri last year. After graduating from O'Neill, Eric studied political science and philosophy at Emory University. He received his law degree from the University of Denver College of Law. He studied tax haven banking law at Cayman Islands Law School and earned his international law certificate at St. Edmund's Hall at Oxford University. While at Oxford, he also worked with an ad hoc special court for Sierra Leone on the prosecution of Charles Taylor. Before moving to New York, Eric held a position with DeHang Law Group in Beijing. Eric's brothers, Mark and Bert, are also graduates of O'Neill, and his youngest brother, Brian, is a senior and will be a graduate in about an hour. So please join me in welcoming our commencement speaker, Mr. Eric Subin.
Good afternoon, soon-to-be graduates, families, friends. My name is Eric Subin. Some of you might know me. I'm Brian's oldest brother, and about 12 years ago today, I was in this exact same place, wearing this exact same thing, sitting exactly where you are now. A member of my family has been enrolled in this school for the past 20 consecutive years, up to and including today at this moment until Brian comes up to collect his diploma when I'm done speaking. As such, it is an absolutely tremendous honor for me to be giving this speech today. This school has been particularly good to me and my family, so to be given this privilege truly does mean the world to me, and I thank you guys for this opportunity. Now, this is in fact the first actual speech I've ever given. In my life, I've had the privilege of giving many toasts, I've held some press conferences, I've done some TV interviews, I've given a respectable number of fiery courtroom closing arguments, but rarely have I ever even been presented with an opportunity to give a speech, let alone my brother's graduation speech in front of my entire extended family, my beautiful girlfriend Shannon, a who's who of my entire hometown, and all of my previous teachers. So, since I'm playing to an audience of the absolute highest esteem, but don't really know anything about graduation speech giving, I asked Brian what I should talk about, seeing as how it is his graduation after all. He told me I should give some advice and talk about how life's a journey. Okay, fair enough. Can't fill 10 minutes doing that though, but I came around to it in the end. Now, since I'm a lawyer, I have to start with a disclaimer. Giving advice is a very dangerous thing to do. All advice is only a product of the man who gives it, and what is truth to me could be an absolute disaster for you. So, attempting to give you any specific advice would be like the blind leading the blind. But, that being said, there are some broad strokes and big picture stuff that I've picked up since I left here. So now, at Brian's request, and at your own risk, I will give you that advice. Firstly, people are going to start asking you very soon, if they haven't started already, what do you want to be? And it might take you quite a long while to answer that question, if you can answer it with any certainty whatsoever in the near future. Every man is a sum total of all of his reactions to all of his experiences. As your experiences continue to multiply, you will continue to become a different person, and your perspectives will constantly change. When you were only slightly younger than you are now, relatively speaking, you might have wanted to be a cowboy or a princess or an astronaut, or in Brian's case, Buzz Lightyear. But I'm fairly certain now that those have changed. You shouldn't try to figure out what you want to be and then steer your life towards that. You should try and figure out who you are and then make your goals conform. In each of us, heredity and environment have mixed together to create this creature of certain abilities and desires. So you should follow a path that allows those abilities to function at their maximum efficiency. As I was introduced, I was told that I graduated from O'Neill, and then I went to Emory. I got a double major in political science and philosophy. It's a classic pre-law move. I then went to the University of Denver and got a law degree. I studied offshore tax havens in the Caymans. I got an international law certification at Oxford. Then I worked with the Special Court for Sierra Leone on war crimes prosecutions, specifically Charles Taylor's. And then I went to China and did contract work. After all that, I went to New York, and I joined my uncle at our family's law firm, where I now get to work on some of the most interesting and high-profile cases in the city. Now, all of that sounds like linear plotted points on the way towards becoming a lawyer, but none of it was actually by design. While I was at Emory, I had virtually no interest in going to law school. I didn't think that the law was for me. I had a zillion different things that I wanted to do each different day. I was going to go into finance one day. The next day, I was going to be a spy. I even applied for a job at the CIA that I'm still waiting to hear back about. After that, I was going to buy into a Five Guys burger franchise and run that, even though I can still count to this day the number of burgers I've ever actually flipped. It was my mom who knew me better than I knew myself and gently nudged me into becoming a lawyer, getting a law degree. And it wasn't even with the intention of being a lawyer. She played to my indecisiveness and convinced me how versatile a law degree was. She said that I could always go into business with a law degree, but I'd never be able to go into law with a business degree. Fair enough. It was certainly tough logic to argue with. Then, while I was in law school, I'd call up my mom sometimes, and I'd tell her I was packing it all in. I should have bought that Five Guys. And now, I'm going to move to Ecuador or something. I'll wear cargo shorts and learn to surf and make my own little house on the beach out of driftwood and seashells or something like that. Or maybe I'd move to Switzerland. I always liked Switzerland. Why not? What's stopping me? Even through law school, I had 1,000 different thoughts of different directions that I wanted to go in. My mom was the one who convinced me rightly that I'm the exact opposite of a beach bum, that I would look ridiculous in cargo shorts, and that applying for a visa to move to Switzerland on a whim did sound like quite an awful lot of work and paperwork. So I continued towards my law degree with no idea what I was going to use it for. After law school, the jobs I had were either ad hoc or temporary, until I decided it was time to move to New York. And when I moved to New York, I had offers to work at corporate law firms, one in particular that I thought I would take. I went downtown one day, shortly after moving to the city, to meet with some of the attorneys that I'd be working for. After that meeting, I went and I met my uncle for lunch. My uncle, who's here today, is an absolutely brilliant attorney who has built our family's business into a powerhouse. He told me when I went to see him that day that I should come and work with him, and that he would teach me everything that he knows about our family's business, and that he would teach me how to be an advocate and a trial attorney, and I have absolutely loved it. When I get to go into court now, it's to battle my wits and my passions and my powers of persuasion against an adversary who is trying to outsmart me and outmaneuver me at every turn. And if I can convince a room full of strangers that my client's position is the right one, then I can change that person's life forever. That's how I want to live. And I didn't know it till I was in the middle of doing it. So my advice to you is decide how you want to live and then see what you can do to make a living within that way of life. I can only be absolutely 100% certain that one of you has a mom that will keep your head on straight when you're trying to slip into delusions of grandeur, and an uncle who will give you every advantage and opportunity to unleash whatever ability you happen to have all over New York's judicial system. But by the look of this turnout today, I would imagine that most of you, if not all of you, have someone in your life who has your best interest at heart, and their gentle guidance towards the right path, coupled with solid mentorship, can truly and really lead you towards a life of fulfillment. My hope for my brother and his classmates, and even frankly for myself, is that if we were all able to travel back in time from 50 years in the future to today, all we'd want to tell ourselves is to enjoy it, because everything fell in line exactly how it was supposed to. Make sure that you spend your days getting to do something instead of having to do something. If you can realize that and you can find that in the world, then the word work is going to mean something drastically different to you than it does to everyone else. However, before you get to the point where you are buckling down trying to carve your name into a chosen profession, you will sit on an abundance of the single most precious commodity in the world, the one single solitary thing that is worth more than anything and everything else all rolled up together: time. You will have more time and less responsibility in the next few years than for the rest of your lives combined. So spend it and spend it all and spend it wisely. Brian wanted me to tell you that life is a journey, and he is certainly right about that, and you should all treat it as such. Travel and explore. It'll help you to recognize when the grass is no longer greener on the other side. Trust me when I say that the world is an incredibly small place. Drive back and forth across the country, then fly to other countries on other continents. Be the guest of foreign lands, eat exotic cuisine, drink fire water, and party like a rock star. The temple of wisdom lies at the end of the path of excess, so see how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Hunter S. Thompson said that life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather a skid-in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" That is what I hope for my baby brother and his fellow graduates and friends. Squeeze every last drop out of the next dozen years, and then come back here and tell the class of 2028 how you did it and what you learned from it. In closing, I want to thank you all again, the school, O'Neill, the faculty, the teachers, for giving me this incredible opportunity. It is something that I won't ever forget, and I truly appreciate it. Mr. Buddy, I love you, man, and I couldn't be more proud of you. O'Neill, class of 2016, let me be the first to say congratulations and good luck.
Sensitive. That will be a tough act to follow. Thank you, Mr. Subin. Mr. Elmore, Mrs. McMurray, Mr. Rim, trustees, faculty, parents, and friends, it is my pleasure to present to you the O'Neill School Class of 2016. Before I could get this out, y'all did that. Please hold your applause until each student is properly introduced. John Douglas Anderson. Megan Teresa Bloom. Gustavos Andres Camperos Lopera. Assisting in the presentation will be faculty member and close family friend, Mrs. Vicki Grimm. Jonathan Allen Carlson. Sarah Elizabeth Coulthart. Cohen Michael Nall Council. Lauren Elaine Daly. Madison Haley Greer. Kelsey Bryn Hohen-Sarek. Chloe Ellen Marie Hoffman. Catherine Louise Huntley. Savannah Mae Jackson. Ian Christopher Johnson. Victoria Elizabeth Landers. Emily Jane McKillop. Tyra Amon Marsh. Adam Michael McNeil. Devon Nicole Moore. Jillian Margaret Monroe. Rebecca Hope Newfer. Erin Catherine O'Connell. Alexandra Nalani Parrish. Penny Kim Payan. Jaquan Deontay Roper. Joshua Michael Russell. Avery Anna Schaefer. William Robert Shermer. Brian Glenn Subin. Assisting in the presentation is O'Neill alumnus and his big brother, Eric Subin. Mason Lloyd Sullivan. Assisting in the presentation will be former board member and uncle, Mr. Lloyd Sullivan. Carly Hannah Ty. Logan Maddie Watkins. Shuyi Wu. Assisting in the presentation will be faculty member and host mother, Mrs. Laura Bullock. You can stand up. It's cool. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the graduates of the O'Neill School class of 2016. Graduates, you may flip your tassel.
Following the recessional, there will be a reception just outside in the courtyard. Thank you, Mr. Subin and Mrs. McMurray. It's with great pleasure that I say congratulations, graduates. You may toss your hats.